The U.S. does not extend foreign aid to Israel. Rather, the U.S. makes an annual investment in Israel. This investment yields to the American taxpayer an annual return on investment of several 100%. Is that a fact? While Israel is a most grateful recipient of a few hundred U.S. military systems, it serves as the battle-tested, cost-effective laboratory of the U.S. defense and aerospace industries, which employ directly and indirectly 3.5 million Americans. Moreover, Israel's defense forces serve as the laboratory of the U.S. armed forces, enhancing their performance on the battlefield. For instance, Israel's Air Force flies the Lockheed Martin manufactured F-16 and F-35 combat aircraft, providing the U.S. manufacturer and Air Force on a daily basis lessons involving operations, maintenance, and repairs. These lessons are integrated into a multitude of upgrades for the next generation of the aircraft, bolstering the performance of the U.S. manufacturer and Air Force. In fact, the F-16 has been improved by several hundred Israeli-driven upgrades involving the cockpit, fire control, wings, fuel tanks, etc. It has spared Lockheed Martin between 10 and 20 years of research and development, which amounts to billions of dollars, improving the competitiveness of Lockheed Martin, which increases its multi-billion-dollar exports while expanding Lockheed Martin's employment base, a mega-billion-dollar bonanza. A similar mega-billion-dollar bonanza is enjoyed by Boeing, the manufacturer of the F-15 combat aircraft, which is also flown and upgraded by the Israeli Air Force. Moreover, Israel is the AAA store of many U.S. defense and aerospace industries and their many subcontractors, serving as a multiplier of export to countries which assume that Israel's use of these U.S. military systems constitutes a most reliable stamp of approval. Furthermore, Israel shares with the U.S. military and counterterrorism agencies its battle tactics against conventional military forces and terrorists, which are mutual threats to the U.S. and Israel, equipped with Russian, Chinese, and Iranian military systems. In fact, much of the formulation of U.S. battle tactics is based on the Israeli experience. For example, U.S. Special Operation Units and urban warfare specialists are trained by Israeli experts in neutralizing car bombs, improvised explosive devices, and suicide bombers. In addition, U.S. combat pilots benefit greatly from joint maneuvers with the highly experienced Israeli combat pilots who always fly under do-or-die state of mind and therefore are forced to maneuver more creatively and audaciously, stretching the capabilities of the US-made combat aircraft to new dimensions. General George Keegan, who was the head of US Air Force intelligence, stated that the US would have to establish 5 CIAs in order to procure the intelligence provided by Israel, which includes the foiling of anti-US terrorism, kidnapping and bombing, securing airliners and airports, and providing the US with vital data on the performance of advanced Soviet Russian military systems. The annual budget of one CIA is around $15 billion. Israel is a unique force multiplier for the US, extending the strategic hand of the US, securing vulnerable pro-US Arab regimes, and deterring conventional wars and terrorism without the presence of US troops on its soil, unlike NATO countries Japan and South Korea. General Alexander Haig, who was NATO's Supreme Commander and US Secretary of State, and Admiral Elmo Zumwalt, asserted that Israel is the largest U.S. aircraft carrier, which does not require American soldiers on board, cannot be sunk, and is deployed in a most critical region, sparing the U.S. the need to manufacture, deploy, and maintain a few more real aircraft carriers and additional ground divisions, which would cost the U.S. taxpayer some $15 billion annually. Over 200 U.S. high-tech giants, which employ several million Americans, have established research and development centers in Israel. They leverage Israel's brainpower in order to increase U.S. production and expand U.S. exports and employment. Just like the defense industries, the U.S. commercial industries have realized that Israel is a critical partner in sustaining their edge over China, Russia, Europe, and Japan in the development and manufacturing of game-changing technologies. In conclusion, U.S.-Israel strategic relations constitute a classic case of a mutually beneficial two-way street, which enhances the economy and defense of both countries, benefiting Israel and American taxpayers alike. Israel is neither foreign to the U.S., nor does it receive aid. Israel is a beneficiary of an annual U.S. investment, which yields to the U.S. taxpayer a few 100% annual return on investment. A mega billion-dollar bonanza. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification button for more videos. The next video will highlight the milestones which transformed Israel from a misperceived liability to a unique strategic asset and force multiplier for the USA. For more information, please visit theettingerreport.com and or write yoramtax@gmail.com.